Hey, this is Brent Larson. You're listening to Checkers or Wreckers. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Brent Larson. Brent, thank you so much for tuning in, or not tuning in, for coming on here so people could tune in. And man,
Sure
what
thing.
a fantastic few years in the world of Outlaws you had. You kind of came onto the scene and just bust right in there. Now, I know you had a lot of experience before, but man, I think you came off of you're coming off of an eighth place finish in the points. Am I right?
Yep. We were eighth last year. We were the most improved driver and kind of getting used to being around the country and being on different tires and all that kind of stuff. But getting a little bit better all the time.
Absolutely. We'll bounce around from question to question here because you mentioned tires here, and that was one of my deeper questions here. But you got it out there. There's a tire shortage right now. How are you guys dealing with that? Or are you kind of maybe figuring out a little new ways to do things with that, or what's your way around that tire shortage right now?
Just try to work with whatever dealers you can in whatever area. Um, Last year we were able to stay ahead of it for a little while, but as the shortages kind of continued, then they started changing rules on us as we get up to shows. So we were good for like a month and a half. Like I'd have tires for like 4 or 5 weeks ahead of time, just trying to keep up with everything. But then we started getting a deal where they would change the rules because not everybody had them. So we ended up with tires we didn't need, and so yeah, it's just trying to work with whatever dealers we can across the country to make it work. But it's we've not been without so far, but it's always a little more work than it used to be.
So it's not to the point of beg, borrow, and steal yet, but we're close.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Now,
mean, I just kind of work with every dealer we can, and sometimes, like, if you're up in the Northeast, they might have a tire that you're gonna need in the Midwest because they don't really use them as much. So if they've got something on the shelf, usually you can maybe nab something from them. So it's just a matter of trying to work with all the dealers to see what you can get.
absolutely there. Yeah, like I said, definitely keeping it interesting for you because you're if I'm correct, you're running a two-person team here, correct?
Um, I've got my wife, and then I've got my crew chief, Grayson, and then we kind of bounce in with one other person occasionally. We're still kind of looking at filling that spot permanently, maybe. So
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
So, what got you into racing? I mean, you've been in it for quite some time now. Was it a parent, a relative? What was it that got you to love racing here?
Yeah, so my dad was into it from like when he was in high school, and then I just kind of grew up around it my whole life, and it's just always what I wanted to do. So I mean, from like my earliest memories are pretending I was driving a race car on the couch or whatever. So just being around it with him is what got me into it. So
That's awesome. There,
and
you talking about being in it for quite some time. You've got a good number of wins under that belt. Over 100 wins in a dirt late model. Is there one win that maybe sticks out to you over the others, or are they all kind of as glorious as each other?
yeah, I'm not a huge favorites kind of guy. Like if I have to narrow it down to one, it's always tough for me. But I don't know. There was a lot of good fun nights around home. Couple few where we had to come from the back or beat some of the good guys around home like Mars and Demo and some of those guys and pass those guys that it always means something. So one time let's see, we had this NASCAR night thing at Cedar Lake at my home track, and they had like these bar stool races there on like a Wednesday night, and I decided to do that deal, which was a bad idea, and I like fell off one of those things, and well, I told myself like I'm just gonna cruise around and like stay out of trouble, which lasted for like half a corner, and then was going for it. And I sprained my rotary cuff, and then I had to race again on Friday, and so I basically raced with like one arm, and I still came from like eighth up to win that. So that that was kind of cool, just because I was like driving one handed.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. A good story to tell, at least. So I kind of want to
yeah,
know a little bit more about this barstool race there. I don't want to hold you too long, but you got to give me a little info on that barstool race. Let's hear that.
they it's a big thing up by us, I guess. I haven't seen as much of it lately, but they had like I think they had like a 10,000 to win barstool race one time on ice, I think, up
Nice.
there. I didn't do that, but the guy who had him, like, he brought him to Cedar Lake as like a little filler for the NASCAR night, and I ended up on one of those things. So, like I said, I was planning on just taking it easy, but it's hard not to be competitive once you're doing
Once you get
something,
on there, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, it went and got X-rays and all that stuff, and the X-ray technician gal, she's like, I'm like, listen, I got a race like Friday or whatever in 2 days, and she's like, you're not doing nothing, and then I went and seen the sports doctor, and I told him what I do, and he's like, well, this is how you got to get by, So I made it by, but yeah, I don't know. That was kind of a memorable win, just because I was handicapped, kind of.
I'm
So
sure you remember the pain in that night there too,
yeah,
because nothing about bouncing around in a late model with a sore arm or shoulder there is gonna keep that nice. So
yeah,
fantastic,
right,
gotta love that.
yeah.
So what you've raced many cars, I'm sure, throughout your career, being when you started all the way up to now. Is there a favorite? Whether it was maybe the quarter midget, were you ever in a quarter midget? Maybe something like that you enjoyed the racing, or is it the late model that you're in right now?
I enjoy the late model stuff. I started when I was 16, just like in a local super stock kind of thing, like a limited late model on a modified tire kind of type of deal, similar to street stocks around the rest of the country, probably. Um, but I, I then I got into some USMTS mod stuff before I did the national scene on the late model stuff, and I enjoy both the USMTS mods and the super lates. The super lates are so challenging, um so much competition that it's frustrating sometimes. We're like the USMTS mod stuff, I picked up on that pretty quick and had some success kind of right away. So that part of it's enjoyable, but I mean, knowing that you're racing with the best guys in the country at what you do is definitely enjoyable as well. It's just it's aggravating to try to keep getting better, and to compete at that level. But we're getting there. So
You're heading down to Volusia right now. You're doing a big thing. You talk about competition there, and what excites you about heading down to Florida? Because I'm sure this is one of the bigger ones of the year. You're kicking off the season. You guys are going down there, and what gets your blood pumped about that first race of the season?
um I think just you had like, well, for us it's only like 2.5 months to think about it, but I mean,
Right.
you've got all the kind of the preparation, and um your last season kind of brings like all these things you want to try or improve or work on for the next year, and so you've got whatever couple months to try to get all that done. And so I think just that anticipation of seeing how everything's going to pan out, the little things you worked on and tried and played around with over the little off season we have to try to get better, and so just going and shaking that down and seeing how things pan out is probably my favorite part of it, I guess. I like tinkering with the cars and trying to make things better and working on stuff. And so just having a chance to see all that pans out is fun for me.
Absolutely, there, and man, you talk like you said. You've had plenty of time in the career and everything like that, and I'm sure you've seen some rule changes, some different changes like that. I know the big rule change this year being the deck height, correct?
Yeah,
Uh,
the deck height and the deck skew.
yep.
Yep.
So what on top of that, maybe a rule change that benefited you that you can remember, is if any, or is there a rule change that they made to the car that just really took some time to get used to and get under and get that feel for?
In the outlaw deal, we were already kind of on this droop rule. So that was, it probably almost benefited the guys who've been running outlaws for a while,
Okay.
because because we're kind of got a heads up on it a little bit, and we've been playing with it for a couple of years already. The deck skew thing affected some of the brands. Didn't really affect us too much, so that wasn't an issue. But I don't know. Anytime there's like a new rule that comes out, I think it benefits the teams that are innovative or have resources. Like I'm kind of friends with Rumley a little bit, and he loves rule changes, because he's like the people with resources win, and so I don't necessarily count myself in the camp with a lot of resources, but I pride myself on being innovative and thoughtful and getting around things. And so I don't mind it too much. I mean, it's just, you gotta get your mind used to this is the way it's going to be, and now how are we going to tackle this challenge again, so.
You speak about being innovative, and this is one of my buddies. When I told him that you'd be talking with us, he was like, "You got to ask him." I believe it was the air cleaner. Did you invent like a 2-part air cleaner, something like that? I got to look it back.
Oh,
that's not the.
Yeah, yeah. For my kids race in the same class that I started in.
Nice.
And for like the way a choke horn is on a 2-barrel is just really dumb. Like how there's no way to really transfer the air in there nice or whatever. So I was tinkering on one of my days back home here and kind of cleaned all that up a little bit and got it flowing in there a lot nicer. And then I had a few people that are after him now, so I'm having some parts laser cut and probably make a few of them up when my spare time, which I don't have much of. But yeah,
right.
I don't know. I was looking at other people's solutions and some different things, and I thought, man, I think I can make this. And I just started whittling away at it, and I'm like, yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. So we've actually got one going to a chassis dyno, I think, next week. So see if it makes a difference or not.
Well, very nice. Congrats there. I didn't realize it was so close to like production here. That's awesome. So
yeah.
So let's see here. I just got a couple more questions. Like I said, I know you're on your way there. I don't want to hold you too long. Is there a race? I know you said you're not one for favorites really, but is there a race? Is there a trophy that you're dying to get before you finish up here?
Man, I'm looking forward to the World of Outlaws at Mississippi Thunder this year. I ran pretty well down there last year, and I think they got a 3-day event there this year, so I'm looking forward to that. And I really want to put one of those eagles from the USA Nationals on my mantle someday. It would be a really cool one to have.
Absolutely. You said your son's in racing. Now that he's in racing, are you having a hard time maybe getting on the road and you want to help him out, or is he still young enough to where it's easy for you to travel right now and get back and help him out there?
Yeah, last year he was 15, and we kind of got him out in the middle of the year, and I didn't really know how much he was going to race or how much he was going to be into it or what, and so it's just sort of a trial run. This year I'm trying to get him built up on spares and extra parts and things so that if he wrecks something while I'm gone, like he's good to go, But now he's 16 and he can drive to the races himself and take care of it, And I mean, by the time I was in the middle of my first or second year with my dad, like when I was 16, 17, he just kind of turned me loose, and I was all over the Midwest racing with my buddies and a pickup truck and an open trailer, having fun. And so I'm kind of hoping he picks up that same direction. I love going racing with him when I can and try to teach him as much as I can when I'm there. But I think it's something he needs to get out and make his own and experience himself without me always being present and always telling him what to do also,
Right. Yeah, letting him learn on his own. I'm all right with that. I'm all right. You got him out of the nest there. But, man, what a fun time. That's a grueling schedule for you guys. You guys, the travel that you guys have, I mean, they don't a lot of people don't see it. They see NASCAR guys. They're on a plane. You pulled over. You're in a van, your truck. You pulled over to talk here, so I can't thank you enough. But cover that a little bit, because I'm sure that's tough on you guys.
Yeah, it is for us, especially. up in, from being up in Minnesota, like, we do spend a good little chunk up in the Midwest in the middle of summer, which is nice. But then, we're in Pennsylvania, that's 14 hours. South Carolina is 17. Florida's over 20, so we do get a lot of travel. And then, um, like this time of year, especially, it's just not worth bringing all of our stuff back home and getting it winterized and
Right.
all that kind of junk. So we've got our rig, all of our racing stuff actually won't come back to my shop until April.
Okay.
There's quite a bit of travel, but we get back home for a few days here and there, and then in the summer when we're out in like Pennsylvania or something like that, we'll stay out with our buddy Boom and over at Chubb's, or we'll be down at Chris Madden's in South Carolina. I don't know if we're down that direction, and so and they'll come up and stay with us too. So it's just kind of a matter of networking together, and um, I enjoy like the diversity, like the different types of things. I like being home for a few days or a couple weeks even, and I like being on the road for a while, and I don't like mundane, like I don't like the same thing over
I'm
and
with you
over.
there.
So yeah, so like, if we get a change and we're on the road for a while, I'm good with that. If we're at home for a while, I'm good with that. But like if I get stuck anywhere for too long a period of time, then I'm like, I'm ready to get out of here and do the next thing or whatever. So
And they
but
say, racing's a community, and that's awesome that you're saying, you're going over here, here, you're staying with this guy. So you're not just bunkering up in a hotel or in the back of a Winnebago, something like that.
right. No, we've got it pretty good. And you learn what you need on the road, and the guys that you're staying with, they know what you need too, so everybody's kind of always got each other's back and got something figured out for laundry and got some figured out for a vehicle and whatever, so you make it best you can, so I think the toughest thing to get used to is um just living with the same two or three or four people all the time, I mean, like
Yep.
you don't get a break, you don't get away, like you got to make it work. Like it's not like you can, like, you go to your job and work and then you come home and see your roommate or your
Right.
wife or whatever. It's like I got my wife does my tires or whatever, and so we're together like 100% of the time pretty much.
Right.
So you
God
gotta,
love you, Brent. God love you.
yeah, right, yeah, like there's no getting away from that.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
last thing I'll ask, I promise this is the last, because like I said, I know you're driving there. What better person to ask about Cedar Lake here? I'm a big iRacer. I know a lot of these guys that watch the show, they're on iRacing, and maybe a little tip for Cedar Lake here. You got any tips for Cedar Lake, being a multi-time champion of that track?
Man, I mean, I haven't done a lot of iRacing. I think a little bit I've done. I just haven't got connected enough with it as I should, or spent enough time with it, but racing there in person, like man, you can't hardly beat diamonding 1 and 2 usually, coming in a little bit higher in one and cutting across two. Um, and like you really can't get stuck on the top of four unless the cushion's way down. Like it kind of shelves up there. But I always had a lot of success just kind of driving it in like ultra hard on the bottom. Like I don't know why, but I feel like you can drive in harder there on the bottom than like almost anywhere else we go and just kind of make it stick. Like it doesn't have a lot of bank down there or anything, but when there's just a little bit of grip, like the way the track is shaped, kind of circular, like you can just keep a lot of speed down there in the bottom if you want. So but you got to watch out for that turn one up there. I've seen a few of these guys land in the pits on iRacing over there.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, guys, multi-time champ right there from Cedar Lake. So you're taking the advice from the best right there. Brent, thank you so much for pulling over, for talking with us for a little bit. It means so much to me. I can't
Yeah,
thank
enjoyed
you
it.
enough. Good luck this weekend. Hopefully you have some success. Maybe come back here with a gator.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.